The Liz Calloway Show with Nick Summers, bringing you the voices that make you think right now on Talk 94.5.
All right, and joining us right now is the candidate for South Carolina Comptroller General, Mike Burkhold. He's a Republican. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning.
Well,
it's a pleasure to speak to you.
It's great to speak with you. I was just scrolling through what you've posted lately on your Twitter account. If people want to follow along, go to Mike Burkhold on Twitter. Also, what's your website if people want to find out more about you?
Just lastname.net. So BURKHOLD.net. Burkhold.net.
All right. So tell us, what is the State Comptroller General do? What is this position?
Yeah, great. Well, it's a statewide constitutional officer, just like the treasurer or attorney general or governor even. And the job of the Comptroller General is two things. One is to be sure all the books are kept accordingly for the state, but also there's a role where the Comptroller General is responsible for overseeing the approval of all invoices the state pays. And
okay.
I got interested in this job. I mean, I wasn't thinking about running for office, but I was writing my tax check at the beginning of this year, and I read this story about the state misallocating or mislosing, however you want to say it, $3.5 billion. And I got very frustrated with that, and I decided, you know what? There's enough of this. I'm going to go run for this office. I'm going to take over the books. I'm going to fix them, and I'm going to make everything transparent. I'm going to put everything online. That way, people aren't like me, because when I write checks, I mean, quite honestly, for taxes, I understand we have to pay taxes. What I don't like about it is I feel like a very large percentage of it is just wasted. And if I feel like, look, I'm going to take control of this. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to make everybody see where our money goes. We can find inefficiencies and fraud if there's fraud or whatever it is, to give people faith that when they send their check to the state of South Carolina, that the government is actually a good steward of that money.
A $3.5 billion error is huge. Did they ever finish investigating that? Because we heard about the $1.8 billion mistake, right?
Right.
Is that different than the $3.5 billion mistake?
They're different. Yeah, they're different. The $3.5 billion was, they were double counting money. So it was money that came in, was earmarked to the universities. And essentially, when they consolidated all their financials, they counted it as general fund money and university money. And so they were just double counting the money, which is like, the thing is, that's just a mistake, right? It's an accounting mistake. But the problem is they knew it for 10 years.
What?
And they hid the mistake. They just never solved it. Yeah, they knew that was a problem for 10 years. And also the state auditor knew there was a problem and never blew the whistle. So there's a whole cultural problem going on in Columbia when the watchdog overseeing the watchdog are putting things together.
Well, what makes you qualified to be the South Carolina Comptroller General?
Yeah, so I'm a businessman. I've built businesses. I've sold businesses to private equity firms. I understand the importance of having nice, tight financials. I think, in particular, if I look at this office, and I've done a lot of research on it, what was missing here was leadership. I think I'm a good leader. Clearly what was missing was not accountants, because the place is swimming with accountants. What was missing is somebody willing to stand up and say, hey, we've got a problem here, and this is how we're going to solve it, and run the state's finances like a professional would, not like a politician.
So this is a partisan, you're supposed to say if you're Republican or Democrat. Now, the one question I have to ask anybody running for a state role in this state is, are you a real Republican? So we have seen many Republicans supposed Republicans that have R next to their names, and they're really not. They're really Democrats. So what can you tell us to prove to us that you're a real Republican? Maybe who you voted for in the presidential election?
Sure. Well, I definitely voted for Trump, and actually, Lizzie, there's a background on me. In 1998, when I was only 28 years old, I ran one of the country's top 10 congressional races up out of Rock Hill. I was running against John Spratt when he was an incumbent up there. And so I've got a long. You can go back to the back to the early days when I was out campaigning. But I'm pro-life, pro-school choice. I think I punch all the buttons on being a true conservative. You're right. This particular seat is, I mean, like hardly anybody, right? Anybody on the spectrum just wants their money wasted, right? So
No.
I don't talk about that a lot, but that's also part of the appeal, right? I mean, it is nice to find common ground where everybody's like, okay, we can all agree on this one thing, is that we don't want to be paying bills that we shouldn't be paying. We don't want to be paying fake invoices. We don't want, like, whatever you want to call the insider
politics.
trading.
We don't want politics in your role, I'm guessing.
You need somebody who's going to make everything by making things transparent. Yes, I mean, I agree, but it's a political job,
Yes,
right? I mean, I have to run for office.
Yeah.
But the idea is I personally think if I can make everything transparent, right, put it online, there are great tools now to do that, to where everybody from a 10th grader to a doctoral student to whomever sitting at home can go through the state's expenses and understand how we spend things. I think that'll be helpful. And in sunlight, as people say, is the best disinfectant.
But you're not the one deciding if these things should be spent on that, right? I mean, your role is to tell us.
So you're right about that. That's the legislature,
right?
Now, on the other hand, if I see inefficient programs, and if I because I'm looking at the numbers, just like I'd say maybe a chief financial officer would be. If I'm looking at the numbers and I see inefficiency and I see waste, I'm going to call it out to the legislature so they can be aware of it. They've got to do something about it.
You're the watchdog.
That's right. They've got to do something about it, no doubt. But that's where you and your listeners come in, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I end up back on your show with an inefficient project that's just wasting billions of dollars and tell you guys about it, you're going to have to be the ones that put the pressure on the legislature to make that change.
I got it. Okay, so we're speaking with Mike Burkhold. He's the Republican candidate for the South Carolina Comptroller General position. Vote early. Vote on November 4th. Now, I have to ask you something.
Well,
I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to say my race isn't until June 9th.
Oh.
I'm not up for on the 4th.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, this
okay.
is a statewide race. I'm running with the governor.
Okay, June 9th. So I wanted to ask you this, because this is, technological advancement is a great thing, but it could also expose us. So what are your concerns regarding cybersecurity, our information? Does that fall under your purview at all as Comptroller General? And making our checkbook online for the state do you have any concerns about security regarding that?
That last question, did you say something online? I'm sorry.
You're wanting to put the state
checkbook
online. Yeah.
Yeah. No, okay. So that is just data that's rendered out to the public. I mean, it's not going to be a door into the accounting system. Okay. So we'll put that and we'll stage that in a separate database. It'd be like taking all your transactions out, putting them in Excel, and then having a web browser have view-only access. I mean,
okay.
Just in simple terms. But in a nice format, so you can run reports and stuff. So the accountant, I mean, the controller does actually own responsibility for the state's accounting system. I understand right now that it's a very old accounting system and it needs to be updated. So I am certainly going to have to work with the state CIO and others to be sure that the system gets upgraded correctly and that we are able to protect everybody's privacy. Now, that's just one of many systems the state runs. You remember, 15 years ago, the Department of Health and Human Services had a breach. But generally, I'm concerned about digital identity in any event. I don't like the consolidation of my identity at the national level. So I'm not enjoying that as time goes on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, I have to ask you, what in everything that you've told us today, Mike, what do you think you can do to make life better for South Carolinians, and why voting for this, really paying attention to who is running for this is so important to them in their everyday life?
Well, this is the person that is actually, as I mentioned, approves all the invoicing, and is the only full-time seat that can tell the voters about where all of our money goes. And in the past, it's been a very sleepy seat. I see this as is a really loud platform to help voters understand how their money is being spent and if it's efficient and if it's being wasted. So that's really what, if you look at it, we all pay tax dollars and they all end up going through this office. Mm. And so I think this is it's been a very sleepy office, but that I can make this a great spotlight on taxpayers and for taxpayers. And the other part of it is that if we can find waste, and I've talked to a lot of CFOs of states of companies that have a bigger budget than the state about our current processes, they all think that it's very possible that we can find 10% in waste in this state. And that in most companies that's the case. Well, that would be $4.5 billion. And it only takes about 6 to get rid of the income tax. So regardless of how the legislature wants to spend money, finding $4.5 billion in waste that we don't need to be spending is a big deal. And if nobody's had their eye on that, I think I can make a lot of progress in the 4 years in office.
If people wanted to reach out to you or find out more about you, Mike, and the reason why I'm asking is because there may be some local people that want to put out an endorsement, or have you garnered any endorsements as of yet that you want to share?
I've not been looking for any endorsements yet, but it seemed early for that. But I'm happy to, if people want to give me a call and talk to me, that's great. They can find me through my website, and I'd love to do that. Yeah.
I would actually say, because in light of what we've seen going on with the monies in South Carolina, that this may be the first race that people are actually really paying attention to who's going to be in this role. The candidates haven't even really fleshed out yet because, as you said, the election isn't until June 9th. But that's your primary, right? Do you have a primary challenger?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I do not have a primary challenger so far. I may draw somebody. I don't know. I'm running as if I'm going to be in the seat because I plan to win.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
But I think this can be a great seat for the people. I really do, and I'm excited about the opportunity to shine a light on state spending and make this the best run state in the country.
Okay, and you were saying that your background is business and buying and building businesses and selling, and like you said, the financials have to be tight, otherwise that's not happening, right?
That's right. If you think about it, if I said, hey, come join me in this new restaurant or new venture or whatever it is, the first thing you're going to ask me is well, what do the books look like? Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
It's the fundamentals of everything, right? Let's see how this operation runs. And we as the taxpayers to the state and the citizens of the state, right now, we don't have access to the book. Mm-hmm. And I want to change that. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So the website again, Mike?
Burkhold.net. www.burkhold.net.
All right. And
I'm on Twitter. I'm on Twitter and Facebook and all that other stuff. People can find me through there as well.
So when I went onto your website, I have to ask you, who's polling higher, you or your mustache?
I think it's the mustache.
Hey, sir, I got to say, I haven't seen a stylish, manly stash like that since Raleigh Fingers with the Brewers. You remember that guy?
That's so funny. I get a lot of Raleigh Fingers as I travel around the country. That's the one person everybody remembers. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm glad you know.
Now, everybody's going to rush. Everyone's going to rush to your website now and check out what you look like. Burkhold.net, Burkhold.net. Mike, it's a pleasure to meet you when you come through town. Look me up. Maybe you can come and join us in the studio.
Oh, I'd love that. That'd be great.
All right. Take care now. Best of luck to you. June 9th.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.